Hey, I'm Hannah. I'm a writer and I got really into writing in college, but I did dabble before that. I've already made a video reading stories that I wrote when I was 6 and 9. But as a tween, I wrote this bad boy, I believe, for NaNoWriMo. I found it on an old email account this morning because I'd sent it to my friend and I gave the first few pages a skim. I was very on Tumblr and I think that really reads. If you're currently below the legal drinking age, you probably missed the random culture era of humor. If you could say like the most unrelated thing in response to whatever was happening in the conversation, it was funny. I don't think anyone should be on the internet before they're 25. You just don't need a paper trail before that prefrontal cortex is done cooking. I was just talking to my friend about how scared I used to be reading my own writing out loud. Like I would suddenly get sick right before my writing workshops in college. I'd take shots before public readings. It was a whole mess. So I just kept doing it. And now I don't care at all. So I think the next level up in that journey is probably just reading this book out loud for y'all. I'm nervous, but maybe there's something in here that will finally get me canceled. That's been on the bucket list for a minute. Anyway, let's get to it. This might end up being a Patreon exclusive vlog. I tend to throw them the inappropriate and embarrassing content. We'll see. If y'all want to read along, did I screen record? I'll screen record. There's no title, but I think it was called Briar Manor or something like that. It's these 3 kids who go into a scary house and then find a mystery. And my dog is named after this character because they have the same personality, so I'm not gonna be able to picture this girl as anything but my dog. I'll put up a picture of Saya so that you can do that with me. Saya appeared down the alleyway from under the dumpster. Come out, called a boy in a sing-song voice. Saya flinched and slid closer to the wall. This is a dead end. Where did she go? Another voice piped in. She's like a rat. They can escape from anything, said the first boy. Whatever. We'll be watching for you tomorrow, Slya. Okay, this is actually very clever. So he gave her a stupid nickname because these are bullies. Also, can you tell I didn't go to school? I didn't know what school bullies were like. But I wanted the readers to know how to pronounce Saya. So I put something that rhymes. Saya watched their feet disappear around the corner. She wasn't moving yet. They've used the pretend to leave and watch Saya be as gullible as a 3-year-old as she comes out of hiding trick on her 4 times in the past month. It's a little dramatic. Saya puffed out her cheeks and glanced warily at the trash around her. The half-eaten sandwich perched inside an old sneaker aroused curiosity within the depths of her soul. Okay, this is the rando culture. That's where that's coming in. There's just like random amounts of spaces for tabs, and that's not because I got it from an email. It's because I didn't know how to format anything, but I was a child. Saya puffed out her cheeks. Saya's trying to get in. She hears me saying her name. Saya puffed out her cheeks and glanced warily at the trash around her. Wearing her hair down on a Wednesday was certainly a divine choice. Why does it matter if it's Wednesday? She attempted to tie it in a knot behind her head, but her elbow slammed in the bottom of the dumpster. How did she know she'd be hiding the trash on a Wednesday? Oh, I'm gonna tell us. Hold on. Well, she had a pattern of 26 ways to get home. Why are there extra spaces? Semicolon. Well, she had a pattern of 26 ways to get home, which evidently everyone else had finally caught on to. Every other Wednesday, she'd take the scenic route through the alleys. Why can't she just walk home the same way each day? Long story. Let me summarize. I said third person omniscient. You see, although she attends possibly the most divided school in the state, Saya is everyone's favorite punching bag. Why are they divided? What's divided about it? I bet I don't elaborate. You could say she brings everyone together. It's a very important role. Saya counted to 10, then slowly slid out of hiding. No one threw anything at her, or shot her with water guns, or pantsed her and posted a video of it on YouTube. Haha, the internet. She decided to climb over the wall instead of risking a sneak attack by going by the road. A feat which is perhaps easier said than done. Saya tried to get a running start to scramble over the wall, but gravity was working against her, as gravity does. I've got a tone. I don't know what the tone is, but it's there. She tried shoving one of the garbage bins to climb on, but she couldn't budge it. Disgruntled, she examined the wall. I hate that word. Wall, why do you hate me so? She asked. The wall said nothing. The tree said nothing, as it was a tree, and trees don't talk. This is pre-YouTube references I'm making here. Guess my age in a comment. Saya sighed. That's awful. I hope I never say that again. And begrudgingly made her way towards the main road. Oh no, that's the British version. It's that little English S. She paused at the end of the alleyway and glanced about. You glance about? Maybe they'd given up. She took... She took off in a run towards home. Okay, so that was Saya, and then there's Alexis, and then there's a boy character. I don't remember his name. Alexis is the homeschooled one. So some of my friends, I remember they read this, and they said that Alexis was the self-insert. Other people thought it was Saya, and other people thought it was the boy. And it turns out, I just had a very consistent personality and did not know how to enter any other headspace. So I just wrote every character from the very depths of my heart. Alexis, what? Alexis, what? Stellar. Alexis was lying on her side, painting a mural on her wall. Oh, Alexis is the quirky one? Alexis, her mom walked in with a large cardboard box in her hands. Yes, Alexis asked. Why don't you come when I call you? I'm painting a dinosaur, Mother. So rando. I'm kind of nailing all of the dialogue tag formatting, though. If you're not going to help me unpack, go outside and make friends, she said, dropping the box on Alexis's bed. Friends are overrated. Oh, I spoke too soon. This should be a period. Friends are overrated. Alexis finished the dinosaur and started on a phone booth. Go for a walk. If you haven't made something that resembles a friend by the end of this month, I will enlist you in public school. Her mom said it like she was threatening to put her in a gas chamber. I don't know about that. Ugh, you pull that threat like a gun, Alexis muttered. Do we need 2 similes in a row? I'm gonna actually, I was just gonna read this and not edit it, but I am gonna be removing that. Alexis muttered, shoving herself to her feet. She grabbed her jacket and walked out. Have fun, sweetie, her mom called after her. Nyeh. Nyeh. Alexis slammed the door behind her. Yeah, this was the time of just making funny sounds. And that's the joke. Alexis slammed the door behind her. Not that she was mad at her mother. She's the bomb. She just likes to convey her distaste for the forced socializing her mother has been trying to foist on her lately. Alexis blames the books her mom has been reading. Well-rounded children talk to other children. That sounds like a book. How to be sure your homeschooler isn't an outcast. It's 10 o'clock. Does your kid have friends? Alexis shoved her hands in her jacket pockets and started doing the skip dance from The Wizard of Oz. Okay. Nikolai Elton, there we go. That's our third boy. Sat in the principal's office staring at his teacher. Mrs. Browning glared back. Mr. Elton, said Principal Victor, you're becoming quite a problem as of late. Why are you talking like that? I'm still not positive of the infraction I'm being charged for, Nick replied as innocently as he could. Okay, Nick. Do you see this? Mrs. Browning screeched. He knows he's the one that glued them together. She jabbed her fingers towards 3 kids sitting across the room. The sides of their faces were super glued to each other. Nick suppressed a smile, yet he sits here and outrightly tries to deceive us. Why do all the adults talk like this? Mrs. Browning huffed. A lock of hair fell into her face and she looked positively deranged. Oh, is that why I'm here? Nick asked. Yes, I did that. May I go now? He started to stand. Okay. Are they all the same character? Yes. Do I love them? Yes. Nikolai, Principal Victor shouted. Nick lowered himself back into his chair. Yes, sir? You have been a constant menace and we will not tolerate it. You're suspended until further notice. Who needs realistic dialogue? No one. This is camp. Thank you, sir. Nick stood and galloped out of the room. Why do they all exit like this? He could hear Mrs. Browning throwing a fit about giving him what he wanted. Nick headed towards his locker to grab his bag. Hey, Nick, Claudia called. Yeah, Nick didn't slow down. Heard you got suspended, she flounced next to him. Nick reached his locker and started spinning in the combination. Claudia was still standing next to him. Go away, Claudia. She laughed again. You're so funny. I hope you're not gone for long. Did you hear about Ben? Oh shit, what did Ben do? Claudia is also notorious for being incapable of taking any sort of hint, even when you directly say it. No one likes you, leave me alone. Poor Claudia. Claudia took no notice of him and continued with her story. Well, Marissa told me that Ben told Sam that he... Claudia? Yes, Nick? You're fat. You're gonna die alone. You'll have at least 14 cats, but none of them will miss you. I don't think any of that was necessary. Claudia seems perfectly nice. Claudia threw her head back and laughed. Nick, you are a riot. Okay, well, at least she's fine with it. Bye, Claudia. Nick shut his locker and walked away. See you later, Nick. Okay, I don't think... We can have bitch characters that no one likes, but I think we need to have the background of why we don't like Claudia. I don't like this just baseless, contextless Claudia hatred. Alexis was examining the cracks in the sidewalk as she walked when it hit her. It being Saya. Oh my god. Saya slammed into Alexis, throwing them both to the ground. Sorry, Saya gushed, yanking Alexis to her feet. It's alright. Alexis brushed dirt from her knees. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Saya glanced worriedly around. Looking for someone? Alexis looked around with her. No, I should go. Sorry again. Saya took off in a fast walk. Hey, wait up, Alexis called after her. She has to make a friend, Saya. Come back. Yes? What? Saya turned around and walked backwards. I need a friend. You seem viable. Are you available to ensue upon a new friendship with a reasonably adequate companion? Alexis asked. This is probably how I talked. Saya stopped and squinted at her. What? Okay, at least Saya is, not having any of it. If this was just acceptable, that would be a little much. Saya said, grabbing her hand and giving it a tentative shake. Excellent. Alexis stood on her toes and lifted her chin. I'm taller than you when I do this. Saya stared at her. Sorry, Alexis dropped back down to her feet. Mom says I should try to act normal when I meet new people. I really spoke way too soon about understanding how to format dialogue tags, and I apologize. Saya smiled. My mom says I should stop asking telemarketers if they'd like to donate to my hamster's college fund. Aww. Kindred spirits. Nick threw the school doors open and jumped down the stairs. Freedom, he shouted, raising his fists. He laughed and started on the sidewalk. Nick, I think you're gonna have some repercussions for this behavior. Okay, so Nick is a private school kid, Sai is public school, and Alexis is homeschooled. Nick's parents had enrolled him in St. Andrew's Academy as a sort of punishment for getting kicked out of 11 public schools in the past 2 years. Okay. He imagined they wouldn't be terribly thrilled about him showing up at home an hour before school is supposed to let out. He turned around and walked in the opposite direction. Oh my god, are we gonna have a meet cute of the three of them? He could see a short blonde girl hoisting someone into a tree a half a block away. We don't need setting. We don't need a description of where we are. Honestly, this is still how I write. Dialogue only. Also, I'll say that this is a first draft. I wrote this for NaNoWriMo just to hang out with my pals and never looked at it again. So this is a draft 0, which is way better than if this was like the polished version. What you doing? He called. I love their vibes. They're all just here to hang. The girl cupped her hands around her mouth to yell back, dropping the person she was holding. The other person, who he could now see was a girl, fell and landed on her back. Can you see that, Nick? Can you know? He ran the rest of the way, but the girl was already on her feet by the time he reached her. Sorry, the blonde was saying. Smooth move, bro. Again, a product of its time. It was your fault. What did I do? Nick asked. You yelled at me. I had to yell back, or you would have been asserting your dominance. This isn't the 1940s. Women have equal rights. Nick blinked at her, then glanced at the other girl. You get used to her fast, she said. I'm Saya. This is Alexis. We're best friends starting today. Okay, like, this isn't good, but it's kind of fun. I see, Nick said. Well, I'm Nick. I just got kicked out of a Jewish school. I'm not a Jew. My parents might kill me, and I currently have no friends. So he was at a private school for Jewish kids, but it was called St. Andrews. Don't worry about it. I see what I was going for here, but we did miss the mark. Score, Alexis yelled. 2 friends in one day. My mom will be thrilled. Oh, 6 months later. We're hopping right in. We don't have time. Alexis Leon. Oh, we're getting her whole name now. You don't want to get characters' names right when you meet them. You want to hold it for suspense. Alexis Leon grew up in South Dakota, but moved to Illinois with her mother 2 weeks ago. Wait, 2 weeks? But we have 6 months later. What's going on? She's been homeschooled since she was 9 and was never really one for making friends. Not that she couldn't make friends, she just preferred not to. It was a life choice, like being a vegetarian. In this analogy, let's say friends are beef and solitude is lettuce. Her mother is an only child, and her father's side of the family pretty much dropped all contact after his death. It's just been Alexis and Mom for a while now. I like that I said Mom. Did we switch to third limited? I also can't tell if is this a new beginning or is this a continuation? Alexis propped her chin on her desk and eyed her math homework, willing it to complete itself. Wait, is she in school now? Mom, she called. Yeah, her mom yelled from across the hall. Do Jedi mind tricks work on inanimate objects? Oh my god. Do your homework, Alexis. Alexis sighed and resumed. It's all homework when you're homeschooled. Alexis sighed and resumed doodling dead turtles on her quadratic equations. I used to draw dead turtles all the time, I will say that much. Her mom walked in. How's it coming? Alexis, that's gross. It's art. Just work on your research papers, she walked away mumbling. Before you become a serial killer or something. Don't worry about it, Mom. Alexis threw her math book in a drawer and pulled out her laptop. Sir Meows, her morbidly obese tabby cat, rolled out from under her bed and sneezed. Hey, kitty. Alexis grabbed him and dropped him on the desk. What you doing? Sir Meows blinked at her, evidently unamused by her enthusiasm. This is the tone of manuscript critiques I do for grown men. I'm writing like a middle-aged man. You suck, Alexis said, putting him back on the floor. She turned back to her laptop and opened her project file. She was writing about Briar Manor. Briar Manor was the name of this book, I was correct. An old mansion across town fraught with rumors of its questionable past. Ooh. The most historically accurate and also the most notorious story of Briar Manor was that of the Smithson murders. In 1883, twin girls, along with their mother, were murdered by a deranged relative. It was never specified who killed them, and Alexis had turned up with nothing, even after the most thorough of searches. She'd already poured over everything in the library and the internet had to offer on the subject. A more recent Wikipedia article mentioned a man named Beatrice Mangrove. Who? Middle school must have sucked for him, Alexis mulled. That's fair enough. Beatrice apparently made a report saying he saw a woman and 2 small children walking around by the upstairs window late at night. Why would this be in a Wikipedia article, Hannah? It was investigated and police reported the house remained locked up and there were no signs of a break-in. Beatrice's statement was disregarded. Then why is it on the Wikipedia page? The fact that he was known as an alcoholic and was drunk at the time didn't help his case. You know how it is. Tap, tap, tap. Mom, did you hear that? Hear what? Tap, tap, tap. Alexis sat up and looked around for whatever was making the sound. She walked to the window and opened the curtain. Heyo, Saya's muffled voice called. Oh my god. Heyo, nye. This is the most 2010 interaction that's ever existed. Alexis slid the window open. How are you up so high? This is a second-story window. What's up, Alexis? Nick called. Alexis stuck her head out of the window and looked down. Nick was holding Saya's feet on his shoulders. Nick is incredibly tall. Alexis snickered. I hate being the tall one. I feel like you guys take advantage of me, Nick said. I'm a person too. I'm not just a ladder. No, Saya wobbled and steadied herself on the windowsill. You're also good for repelling predators. Saya hasn't had a problem being bullied since Nick started walking with her to and from school. Aw, because bullying doesn't happen inside of school. I wouldn't know. I've never been. Did you guys ditch? Oh, look at her with the school lingo. Alexis asked. It was 9 a.m. No, parent-teacher conferences. That did sound like a thing. Saya, can you get down now? Saya crouched and sat on his shoulders. Close enough. Nick rolled his eyes. Mom, Alexis yelled. Today's a parent-teacher conference. I could talk to myself if that makes you feel more like a normal child, her mom yelled back. I'd rather just be temporarily excused from my current state of purgatory. Purga what? Saya asked. Mom! Whatever, her mom called. Huzzah. Shut up, bitch. Bye, Mom. Alexis straddled the windowsill. Just don't climb through the window again, her mom yelled. What? Alexis called, throwing her other leg over the side and hopping to the ground. From the second story? So what are we doing today? Nick asked, tossing Saya onto a hedge. This is just like a cartoon. I'm writing a research paper on Briar Manor, and I needed to know more about it, Alexis said. Oh, shall we go exploring? Asked Nick. No, Saya said. It's terrifying. It'll be fun. Alexis pulled Saya to her feet. I refuse! Saya threw herself on the ground and crossed her arms. This is so much, girl. Alexis glanced at Nick. He shrugged. You get her hands, I'll get her feet. Alexis and Nick carried Saya to the edge of Briar Mansion's lawn. Briar Manor? Who the fuck is Briar Mansion? Stop that. And dropped her by the fence. They crouched down next to her. Briar towered over them, looking ominous and foreboding. As manors do. It must stretch for acres from side to side. They're like downtown, and there's a yard that's several acres wide, and I think it's empty. What is that for? The bars over the windows were well rusted over, and the sun-bleached paint was peeling. Storm shutters were clinging to massive windows like a spinster to her dying cat. Bitch, say you hate women without saying you hate women. Ugh. The giant front door, which Alexis judged to be approximately as old as time, had intricately carved lion heads on each corner, with a huge dragon taking up the center. Well, that's welcoming, Saya said flatly. In Illinois? What is this manor doing in Illinois? How are we gonna get in? Nick asked. We're not, Saya exclaimed. Haven't you heard the stories? Don't be such a maternal badger. What the fuck does that mean? Alexis whined. What? Said Saya and Nick. Okay, at least people are reacting to the shit Alexis says. I'm trying to make that a thing, Alexis said. I could see that catching on, Nick nodded. They eventually managed to convince Saya to let go of the fence and be dragged into the yard. It doesn't sound like she was convinced. It sounds like they're dragging her into the yard. All of the doors and windows are locked, Alexis. Do you have a plan? Nick asked. Set phasers to stun, Alexis yelled and started running towards the west side of the mansion. Say you watch TV with your dad every day without saying that you watch TV with your dad every day. Nick ran after her and Saya begrudgingly followed. They watched her reach the side of the house and disappear. Alexis, Saya called. I'm over here. Saya and Nick turned the corner and saw Alexis sitting next to a cellar door. Look it! Look it, she exclaimed. It's locked though. Nick knelt next to her and held the lock. It's old. Maybe we can break it, Saya suggested. Saya is giving suggestions for how to get into a ghoulish house, Alexis said. Never mind. Breaking and entering is illegal. This is a bad plan. We should leave. You're already committed, Saya. There's no turning back, Alexis said, widening her eyes and twitching. Alexis, Saya whined. She threw her hands over her eyes and turned away. Okay, so widening her eyes and twitching is like she's being spooky. Got it. I was like, girl. Got it, Nick said, dropping the padlock on the ground. The only physical description we've gotten of any of these characters so far is, I think, was Saya blonde? Yeah, Saya's blonde and Nick is tall. That's all. That's all we get to know. Got it, Nick said, dropping the padlock on the ground. How did you do that? Alexis asked. Nick held up his hands, dangling a pocket knife and a paperclip. Way to go, convict, Alexis said. She shoved the cellar door open and peered down. Well, that's quite dark. Anyone have a flashlight on them? Everyone checked their pockets. Saya brightened. Nope. Well, I guess we'd better get going then. Oh, pen light, Alexis said, holding up her keychain triumphantly. Great. Saya heaved a sigh. Alexis flicked on her light and shined it down the hole. Stairs! Woo! She scurried down. Nick stepped down and turned back to Saya. Coming? Meh. Saya followed. Oh, and then we've got Saya Matthews has lived in Leandro. It's got to be a made-up place, Illinois, with her father for as long as she can remember. So we had an intro scene of each character, and then the second scenes with them is when we get their backstory. I can respect that. I can respect that format. I think I'm gonna call it a day there. So we didn't get very far, but it's not as bad as I was anticipating. But you can find my recent writing in the description. I promise it's better now. Let me know in a comment if you want me to read more of this, because there are 50,000 words of it. So we could make a few installments. I'll see you next week. Bye.